I think it's probably pretty obvious as a bank headquartered in Western Canada. Being in Western Canada is one of the challenges that we face, sort of both economically but also financially. Splitting my time between Ontario and Alberta has been really enlightening over the last year. As things are happening, as the economy's changing, as where things are a bit more robust, perhaps in Ontario, there's still a lot of challenges in Alberta. The change in government has been quite dramatic there, and that's sort of driving a lot of uncertainty in the local economy. But we're a bank that has tried to proof ourselves against that. And so over the last sort of 10 years, we've been pursuing a strategy of geographic diversification and line of business diversification. And so now we're actually split about 30-30-30, BC, Alberta, and Ontario, which is sort of helping us address some of the challenges that come from more localized economies, like in Alberta. So our legal department is more than just legal. So it's legal, it's regulatory compliance, and our investigations group. And I think that is a model that helps sort of address the three risks that often come together or can be related, which is legal risk, regulatory compliance risk, and criminal risk. So our teams work together. We're one team. We often are involved on many of the events and incidences that happen across the organization. One's pulling in the other. And so for us, that's an efficient and effective way of us delivering against our mandate, which is to manage for that legal, regulatory compliance and criminal risk. In an organization of 2,700 people, there's not as much hierarchy and there's not as much distance between parts of the organization. So it gives us a unique opportunity to get to the issues very quickly wherever they're rising up from whichever part of the organization, but also for us to be able to deliver our advice and our support quite directly to the top of house without it sometimes getting filtered along the way or perhaps getting confused along the way. We need to understand our organization, and this is why some of the members of our team could do this from an external perspective or an external perch if necessary. But I think the value of having these kinds of teams in-house is that you really understand the organization and you can apply the risk lens that the organization has to the initiatives that we choose to do or the way that we choose to address the problems or the challenges that come to us or the opportunities that we see and are presented. We are in the business of taking risk as a bank. Hopefully we're taking good risks, and that's what we're trying to do. If I think about compliance, I mean, it's table stakes in banking, right? It's highly regulated. We have, sort of prudential regulators, but now we're starting to deal a lot more with some of the enforcement regulators and the conduct regulators. And we're seeing a lot more activity as these regulators are given new powers and have refreshed mandates from government and from the public to try to bring a little bit more transparency to some of the processes that we have. When we participate in the capital markets, we involve external counsel. When we need some complex or specialized regulatory advice or advisory work, we're working with external counsel. We're partnering with them sometimes on bigger mandates that are outside of the day-to-day. If we were to engage in M&A activity, we involve some external counsel. But just as importantly, we work with an awful lot of lawyers across the country who really help us deliver against our business, right? So we work with external counsel quite regularly and across the country on lending transactions and leasing transactions. They help us deliver the service that our clients need and to be able to put the products in place that our clients want. I think a lot of companies will talk about transformational change, and I'm sure it's true there, but it is certainly true at our organization. We continue to move with great pace to execute against a very ambitious strategic plan that will have us moving into delivering services for small and medium-sized enterprise in a digital platform, which is really exciting. It can be easy to work in silos and to say, this is my work and I'm going to manage legal risk in this area, or I'm going to address questions when they come to me, but the greater satisfaction and I think the greater value that we can bring to the organization is when we're leaning in, when we're part of things right from the beginning, when we're part of the planning so that we're not saying no at the end. And so it's, we've got a lot of sort of multi-party, cross-functional initiatives that we're going to drive in the year ahead.